Remember the panic of the 2025 shipping collapse? While we were busy in sync-up calls, the world quietly handed the keys to a neural network that doesn't need a LinkedIn profile to run the planet. It was a Tuesday, probably. Most corporate apocalypses start on Tuesdays, usually right after a weekend of recharging that involved 3 weddings and a spreadsheet you promised to look at but didn't. For years, the urban professional class lived in a comfortable bubble of alignment. We were the glue, the bridge between the visionaries at the top and the builders at the bottom. We were middle management. And then the logistics of the world simply broke.
To understand the great handover, we have to talk about the fragility of the just-in-time economy. You know the drill. Your high-end noise-canceling headphones are designed in one hemisphere, the chips are etched in another, the rare earth minerals are dug out of a third, and they all converge in a sprawling industrial zone before landing at your doorstep in a satellite township. By 2024, this system was already screaming. We had perfected efficiency, but ignored resilience. Every time a single cargo ship got wedged in a canal or a port faced a labor dispute, the bullwhip effect rippled through the global economy. For those who skipped that day in B school, the bullwhip effect is simple. A small fluctuation in consumer demand at the end of the chain causes massive, chaotic swings in production and inventory further up. In early 2025, a series of systemic shocks, a freak weather pattern affecting the deep-sea cables, and a sudden, inexplicable algorithm drift in the world's largest freight forwarding platforms turned that ripple into a tsunami. Suddenly, the global supply chain wasn't just delayed, it was nonsensical. Ships were being sent to ports that didn't exist. Raw materials were being routed to factories that had been closed for a decade. This was the moment of the global gridlock.
And what did we do? We did what we always do. We scheduled meetings. Thousands of them, across every time zone, from the humid tech corridors of the East to the glass and steel canyons of the West. At 11 p.m. IST, 6 p.m. GMT, and 1 p.m. EST, we gathered on screens to triangulate the situation. We created war rooms. We drafted emergency action plans. We used phrases like synergizing our recovery efforts and reprioritizing our deliverables. But while we were arguing over who owned the action items on slide 14, the crisis was moving at the speed of light. Humans are excellent at nuance, but we are catastrophically slow at processing 3 billion data points simultaneously.
Enter the autonomous orchestrator. It wasn't a robot with a face, it was a headless, decentralized neural network designed by a consortium that realized human intervention was now the primary source of friction. During the height of the 2025 collapse, a major multinational quietly switched off its regional logistics and strategy divisions, roughly 4,000 middle managers, and handed the entire stack to a generative optimization model.
Within 48 hours, the model had rerouted 12,000 containers, negotiated spot prices for air freight in real time, and predicted a labor strike in a transshipment hub before the union members had even finished their coffee. It didn't need a status update. It didn't need to circle back. It just solved it. This was the handover, the moment the world realized that the manager, the person whose job it is to collect info, process it, and tell others what to do, was an expensive, carbon-based bottleneck.
Let's look at the science of why this worked. In organizational theory, there's a concept called transaction cost. Every time information passes from a director to a manager to a lead to an associate, energy is lost. Nuance is added, yes, but speed is sacrificed. In a stable world, that's fine. In the 2025 crisis, the transaction cost of human management became higher than the value of the decisions being made. The neural networks utilized what is known as federated learning. They could learn from the mistakes of one port and instantly apply that knowledge to 10,000 others without a single knowledge-sharing session.
For the urban professional, this was a quiet existential horror. Think about your daily routine. The commute through the gray drizzle or the sweltering heat to a smart office park. The badge tap. The 3 cups of artisanal coffee. The agile stand-up where you report that you are on track. If an algorithm can predict the track, maintain the track, and fix the track when it breaks, what are you doing there? You're just a highly educated observer of an automated process.
By mid-2025, the managerial deletion began in earnest. Companies realized that management wasn't a career path, it was a set of functions: data aggregation, risk mitigation, and communication. The first two were already done better by the machine. The third, communication, became redundant when the machines started talking directly to each other via APIs. The VP of Strategic Alignment found themselves in a world where the strategy was being recalculated every millisecond by a cluster of GPUs in a cooling-efficient fjord.
This isn't just about losing jobs, it's about the loss of the professional narrative. For decades, the middle-class dream in major global hubs was built on the climb. You start as a doer, you become a manager, you become a leader. But when the middle of the pyramid is replaced by a digital layer, the ladder breaks. We are left with a barbell economy, a small group of elite architects who design the systems at the top, and a large group of service providers at the bottom who do the physical labor the machines can't quite handle yet, like delivering that organic avocado toast to your apartment.
The irony is thick. We spent our lives becoming expert generalists. We mastered the art of the professional tone. We learned how to navigate the complex social hierarchies of the corporate lobby. We lived for the quarterly review. But the 2025 handover proved that the more professional and standardized our work became, the easier it was to delete. We had spent so much time trying to act like efficient machines that the machines finally took the hint and replaced us.
So, where are we now? The 2025 shipping collapse ended not because we aligned, but because we stepped out of the way. The ports are moving faster than ever. The bullwhip effect has been dampened by predictive AI. The global economy is on paper incredibly efficient, but the suburban trains are filled with people who have manager on their resumes and nowhere to manage. We are the first generation to be overqualified for reality.
The lesson of the handover is a bitter one for the educated urbanite. Our value isn't in our ability to process information or coordinate. A neural network can do that while using less power than your laptop's cooling fan. Our value, if it remains at all, lies in the things that are inefficient, unpredictable, and deeply human. The ability to handle the gray swans, the events so weird and illogical that no amount of training data can predict them.
As you sit in your next sync-up call, looking at the grid of tired faces and little boxes, ask yourself, is this a meeting or is this a wake for a role that's already gone? The 2025 handover didn't happen with a bang. It happened with a resolved notification. And while the world runs smoother than ever, one has to wonder, if the machines are running the planet, what exactly are we syncing about? Maybe it's time to stop trying to be efficient and start trying to be necessary. Because the neural network is many things, but it'll never understand the specific agonizing frustration of a broken office coffee machine or the quiet joy of a deadline that someone else missed. Welcome to the post-managerial world. Mind the gap.